Tell me when we're allowed to laugh. Because some rather large issues come up in my research and discussions, um, it's a little bit of a pinched nerve. No extra connotations intended. To focus on the single and most absurd of issues, the claim that my interpretation of what was done to me and the evidence therefore is a result of schizophrenia. But we're not allowed to laugh. That's against the rules. We're supposed to take this in all sobriety because it comes from upstairs people, professional psychiatrists, police attorneys, school authorities. Mama, it gets ingenious. So let's focus a moment. Let's look at some of the corollaries pertaining to this one very limited but somewhat personal issue pertaining to a lot of things that go on in my life, like my poetry and my affairs. And the way I've been attacked is, of course, the most important because it's used to pretend I wasn't attacked. Now, we know some strange things have happened when a doctor in Chinatown stepped forward and said that I was obviously attacked. I'm suffering from glaucoma from this damage to my eyes, very consistent with my testimony of childhood beatings. The police, of course, in Pittsburgh know that the Pittmans were unbelievably ferocious, cruel, brutal people. And the very idea that I was being held in the custody of the Pittmans is enough to tell the whole story to everybody on the Pittsburgh police force. But they've kept that quiet for decades. And there's other related things, like the picture that surfaced of my having obviously been horrifically abused. One that made a lie of everything the abominable King Crimson had preached about me with the help of Proctor and Schulman's other menacing crazies in the city of Pittsburgh. Fripp, with that picture, managed to insult the intelligence of every single man, woman, and child on earth. So it's appropriate, perhaps, not to laugh. But the person you see in the picture, which is me, in conformity with everything I've said about being tortured, which is true, they say is a person who's in the grip of schizophrenia, and we're not allowed to laugh. Not because in the heckling sense. I mean, you're allowed to laugh if you heckle. But if you laugh because of how indecent of an absurdity it is, that's forbidden. So, I was not allowed to go to school because I would flunk and cause trouble. Oh, is that what happened? 4 years, straight A student, Phi Theta Kappa, diploma. Did I ever apologize? No. They said I imagined being framed as I was framed for an armed robber after I got home from the governor's school, but I imagined that was a part of a pattern. They showed me a picture of Ronnie and said it was me, and I imagined that was part of a pattern. They said I imagined being framed for reckless driving. And the person who did it was arrested on a $6 million museum heist. And what did they do? They poisoned me in the mouth. Well, just before he was arrested. I mean, but I imagined being poisoned in the mouth. I imagined the abscess coming up on my lip that everybody witnessed. See what a powerful imagination I have. I'm in the Magus of Gurdjieff land. All I have to do is imagine something like that, and it produces all of these witnesses. But shh, none of them are allowed to say it. And you're not allowed to laugh when they say it was a manifestation of schizophrenia. I'm the schizoid man, and they're getting performances out of me to compensate an imaginary person who tortured me for fun. And the authorities just laugh. They wave, go ahead, torture Curry. That's funny. They really did. And they say that's my imagination. So when you look at the evidence, what do you see? You see drawings of 21st century schizoid men when I was 8 or 9 years old after Watmaker showed me Yad Vashem. They show a nerve agent. They illustrate a nerve agent. And they claim that the throttling of my facial nerve from the nerve agent that deafened me went up into my optic nerves too, which they aggravated with the Tylenol to give me Parkinson's. Okay, which is illustrated in the documents of Watmaker's friend, who is now in neurobehavioral research, are all imagination, all coincidences. She said, nearly killed me, forced me to swallow. All coincidence, all my imagination. The Alexitemic cartoons I sent to Tim Menace, all coincidence, all my imagination. Partner of Watmaker in a gang of his wrote, the persona is subjected to successive degradations of the X motive. And that's come out time and time again because of the pornographic genocide I've reported about them, all my imagination. But he said something else really relevant. The dialectic is established at the outset. What dialectic? His brother wrote, his friend Richard McGarvey wrote, the persona is put into a gaseous paint chamber of a lifelong process. His partner, the vice president of their gang, Paul Ronco, confessed the whole thing before committing suicide. Everybody in Pittsburgh knows I'm telling the truth. But they say it's my imagination because the pot of gold keeps getting bigger and bigger because of the gang game that they played. And they call themselves the government. Okay, that's what they call themselves. It's an Occupy of some sort. Very weird Occupy. So you have this poison crowd. The persona is subjected. The dialectic is established at the outset. What dialectic? Richard McGarvey's brother Michael called it pigment and figment. Their administrative director, Pina Sinfield, calls it paranoia's poison. See the pattern? No pattern. Pigment and figment. Poison and paranoia, figment of the imagination. It's all in cold blood. It's absolutely brutal cold blood from the highest authorities in the state, from administrators at UW, from administrators at the hospitals, from administrations in Olympia, from administration in Seattle, to the face liars. And it's all my imagination. They say I have schizophrenia, isn't it? And you're not, you can heckle, but don't laugh.